please listen to the rules and procedures that will follow for tonight's meeting.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you're acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application and it's other than a renewal and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Was there anyone that would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First application tonight is application 2669 of Gennaro Cozzolino, property located in Deer Park. Name and address for the record, please.
Can we unmute that, Christine?
Try to, no?
Hello,
There you go.
good evening. Gennaro Cozzolino, homeowner, residing at 2125 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729.
Okay. Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes,
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated June 4th, 2026. Environmental control memo dated May 11th, 2026. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. Fire marshal's report passes, has no objections. We have a survey by Albert Tay, dated November 13th, 25. Plans by Michael Anzalone, dated July 28th, 2025. We have 5 photographs, and we have the affidavit of posting. What would you like to tell us about the application?
good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We're requesting relief from the board to construct a new 8x15 two-story side addition, extending the existing 2 bedrooms on the first floor and the second floor. Proposed additions require variance for building area, requesting to build at 31.34% from permitted 20%, a difference of 11.34%, or approximately 1,076 square feet. Variance for front yard setback, requesting to maintain 20.2 feet to an existing portico that was built approximately in 2008 by the previous owner. 23, to maintain 23.2 to an existing vestibule that was built with the house, and to permission to build at 29.2 from permitted 30 feet, a difference of 0.8 feet. Also variance for rear yard setback, requesting to build at 28.74 feet from permitted 40 feet, a difference of 11.26 feet. The front and rear additions are to be built over the existing footprint of the house, not encroaching any further into the existing setbacks. All other proposed additions comply with the zoning requirements. That is it.
Okay, I'll turn the hearing over to Mr. Montiglio.
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening.
What's the intent for this dwelling? Who's living there?
Right now, it's me, my fiance, and my mom. My mom has moved into the first floor since COVID. She is now using a walker to get around. Eventually, she's going to need a wheelchair, which is why we're extending the bedroom on the first floor.
So there's no outside renters going in there?
No.
How many kitchens are in there?
There's only one kitchen. There will be a second kitchen. We applied for an accessory apartment permit. There will be a second kitchen on the second floor.
Bathrooms?
Bathrooms, there's 3 bathrooms.
What's the purpose for the 3 meters on the house?
3 meters were installed by the previous owner. They purchased the property, subdivided the property, built the house. I don't know if you can bring up the aerial, the colonial behind us, the one with the pool. And when they upgraded the electric, they installed 3 meters per floor. 3 separate meters per floor. I don't know what the intent was.
So you pay three
I have
utility bills?
3 separate bills right now.
You can get access to the whole entire house internally?
Excuse me?
Is there any, you can get through access to the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
entire house?
Sure.
Can the side yard deck be reduced at all so you can decrease the...
I've read that, and I noticed that, but 3 feet of the deck is not, it's not square. 3 feet of the deck are stairs. If I were to reduce it any further, it would render the deck unusable.
You said the portico was built in 2008 before you bought the house? You said?
2008, yes.
So it's just going to be 4 people live in this home, you saying?
4 people?
Yeah.
Well, if we have a kid, we might be more than 4.
Right now, I'm saying.
Yes.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Just need the conditions. You agree?
If this was approved, if you guys, the final conditions would be accessory apartment must be maintained with the additional unit with the dwelling, internal access must be maintained throughout the building and the dwelling, and the second story deck not to be enclosed or above, and the front porch and portico not be enclosed.
I agree.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve application 26-69 with the full conditions that were just read.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Next application is application 2689 of Zenleaf LLC, property located in Farmingdale, East Farmingdale.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Nicole Blanda. I'm an attorney at Bizzell, Blanda, Visconti, with offices at 535 Broad Hollow Road in Melville.
Okay, for the record, we have a planning division memo dated June 3rd, 2026, environmental control memo dated June 8th, 2026. If we were to approve this application, we need a negative declaration.
Does not need a neg deck?
Doesn't need a neg deck? Doesn't need? No, it does. It does, I'm sorry. Okay. Fire marshal's report, building is vacant and secured. You would have to get the fire marshal there, I guess.
I thought it said it passed. Did it say it passed?
Oh, it does say, I'm sorry, it does say
Yeah.
passed. I don't know why he wrote building vacant and secured, but, okay. Suffolk County Planning Memo dated June 5th, 2026, decision of local determination. Take no position for or against. A survey by Pinnacle Lands dated October 8th, 2025. Plans by Spaces Architecture dated April 22nd, 2026. 4 photographs, and we have the affidavit of posting.
I'm here tonight on behalf of the property owner and the applicant. The applicant is Zenleaf LLC. We're seeking 2 variances in connection with an adult-use cannabis dispensary. The property is on the southwest corner of New Highway and Gaza Boulevard. It is zoned Industry G. It has a lot area of 13,763 square feet. So one of the variances that we do need to request is a lot area variance, because in this zone, you're required to have 15,000 square feet, so that's an existing condition. The site is presently improved with a old 1,100 square foot restaurant/deli. That's what it was used for, had storage above, and this restaurant, it appears to have began in 1975, but it hasn't been used in quite some time. So the idea would be that this building would be demolished and a new building would be constructed. We are seeking to construct a 3,000 square foot retail adult use cannabis dispensary. The curb cut on Gaza would be closed off, and new curbing and sidewalk will be installed along the perimeter. The building will be tucked into the northeasterly section of the property and will have landscaping around it along Gaza and along New Highway as well. So that'll make that corner much more attractive. The curb cut for ingress and egress will be located on New Highway. So as you pull into the site, you'll have parking on the north side of the drive aisle, and then straight ahead, there'll be parking along the westerly side of the property. We're providing 15 spaces on the site, only 13 are required. We do have a loading area for any deliveries of merchandise to the site. Any deliveries that come to the site will be done by Sprinter vans, and they can also come into the building. And we have the proper turning radius for these delivery vans, as well as for the refuse enclosure. There'll be new drainage structures on this site. Lighting will be dark sky compliant. So essentially, this older, worn-out site will be entirely upgraded. For the business operation itself and for the interior layout, the entrance to the building will actually be on the southerly side of the building, so not really at the street, but rather when you pull in and where you can park. There'll be security at the door scanning IDs. Much as you've probably heard on other sites, no one under 21 will be allowed to enter. So you get buzzed in, you show your ID, and then you're allowed in. There'll be display cases and devices or point of sale kiosks where people can make their purchases. There's also going to be some storage in the back of the building, an office space, the employee bathroom, et cetera, where customers will not be allowed to go back there. Deliveries will be made to the site and brought into the rear of the building, and so you'll have your storage room of merchandise in the rear as well. There'll be no outside storage on this site. They anticipate having 5 to 6 employees, depending on the shift and the level of activity. And the hours of operation will be the same as other operators within the town. So Monday through Saturday, 9 to 9, and then Sundays, 10 to 8. And I believe there are maybe a couple of other conditions on the memo: no on-site consumption of product, and there shall be no special events held inside or outside of the premises. This area is industrial. New Highway is an industrial corridor. To the east is the Pine Lawn Cemetery, and then north, south, and west are other industrial zone properties and uses. This did obtain proximity location from the Office of Cannabis Management from the state, and it's been certified as being in a proper location within the town. If the board has any questions, as I said, the only 2 variances are lot area and the special permit for the cannabis.
So there's currently site review going on this, right?
Yes, it's under, we had our planning board hearing. It went well. There were a couple of revisions. They wanted some more specifications, or rather, traffic safety wanted specifications on some bollards that were being put in. So we are under revision right now, but none of that will affect any of the variances.
That was my question, okay.
Sorry. The long or the short of it is, yeah.
And you agree to all the conditions on the planning memo?
Yes,
Hours of operation, 9 to 9, on, Monday to Saturday, and then Sunday, 10 to 8.
yes,
No on-site consumption. There shall be no special events held inside or outside.
correct.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? Yeah, you can come right up. Thank you.
Evening, folks. Sorry, this is a de facto bring your daughter to work day. My wife had to go to Manhattan. That's Betsy. Okay, want to sit with Daddy? Sit with Daddy? Speaks a sign language only. You can call her Freddie also. Fred is her nickname. Oh, hey, hey, move over a little. You want to run the meeting? Move over a little bit, please. It's right here. Right, thank you. Good girl. My name's Gary Templeton.
I need your address.
Yeah.
Address?
My address, I'm right across the street from that deli, that building. I'm at 1710 New Highway. I'm both the building owner and the business owner.
Okay. And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What'd you like to tell us?
Well, I'm very concerned about this kind of business coming into the neighborhood. Nothing against this cannabis business, but we've got, from what I've seen, Strange Stars up the road, probably not even a half a mile away. At times, there are lines out the door. A lot of cars are in that parking lot. It's a big parking lot there because there are multiple businesses there. I'm very concerned about the traffic. We, every once in a while, we jump out of our seats in my building because it's a vicious accident. People making turns out of crossing New Highway, out of Gaza Boulevard, which is the same thing as coming out of the new curb cut, which I appreciate the curb cut on New Highway, but those left turns on New Highway are vicious. A lot of cars and trucks are doing 60 miles an hour on New Highway, and there are accidents there all the time. I'm sure you can pull up the records on that. I'm very concerned with, I understand that she mentioned that you're not going to be able to consume on premises, but it doesn't mean people coming to get refills aren't already under the influence of cannabis. Hey, Bets, stop flirting. Get over here. Anyway, concerned about that for one. I also operate a military defense company. We do sensitive work. I've got alarm systems and I have proximity sensors, cameras outside. Every time there's a false alarm, I get charged by the Suffolk County Police Department. Hours 9 to 9, if it gets crowded, they're going to be parking in my side parking lot on Gaza, walking across the street. If you see the aerial, you see the solar panels to the north, that's my building right there. So I only heard about this, I didn't hear about the initial hearing. I got a letter May 22nd. My assistant did some canvassing of 7 neighbors that are also against it, and they didn't even get notification of this hearing tonight. There are tractor-trailer trucks, and it's an industrial park. It's a lot of trucking and a lot of cars up and down Gaza, all those streets, including Gaza and New Highway. I'm concerned that it's hazardous, and I'm concerned about loitering around my property as a defense contractor, late at night. We're not there Saturdays and Sundays typically, and we close at 4 o'clock typically. So those are my main concerns. I don't know why we need another cannabis supplier dispensary that close to Grain Stars, which it's not even a half mile away. You know where it is. It's by Sherwood and 110. And that's all I have to say for now. I'm not sure what both special exemptions mean, but it seems like an odd place to have a dispensary in an industrial park.
That's why they need a special exception permit.
Yeah. I'd love to have the building knocked down and something fresh. Obviously the design looks nice with landscaping and all, but I just think it's the wrong business, my opinion. And maybe if you put a traffic light up, it helps mitigate the danger, the hazards. I'm surprised there isn't a traffic light out in that corner as it is, Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
So as part of the planning application, there was a traffic and parking study completed by Mulryan Engineering, and there was also traffic reviewed by a town consultant as well. I only have a hard copy of the Mulryan. I could submit it through the portal, or I could submit a hard copy now, or both, however you want to do it. But the planning department has all those records as well. How do you?
Do both.
Yeah,
Want me to give you a hard copy, and then tomorrow I can upload?
Yeah.
So the site itself will be well-lit. We're required to do a certain amount of lighting for the site and for the parking lot. Obviously, it'll be dark sky compliant, meaning that it'll be shielded to be on site and not have spillover. But there will be safety measures in place. There will be security at the front door, much like other sites. It's only allowed in the industrial zone. So what you do tend to find is it is going to be amongst these types of uses, whether it be automotive uses, trucking uses, things of that nature, because it has to be within the industrial zone. So it does meet the specifications for distances, how far away it has to be from residential, how far away it has to be from another retail cannabis or a micro business, education facilities, religious uses, things of that nature, childcare. It does meet all of those criteria. We did submit a letter certifying that to planning when we first applied as required. Our planning board hearing, because we're surrounded by industrial, it was an informational hearing, so that's probably why there was no notice mailed out. As far as notices getting mailed out for zoning board, they should have been. It's 200 feet. I don't handle that. The town handles that, but it's only within 200 feet. So sometimes a property owner might seem close, but they might not receive a letter if they're beyond 200 feet.
Were the signs posted?
Yes, the signs were posted on both Gaza and New Highway.
Both sides. When you talk about the security inside the building, does that security go outside the building to make sure that there is no consumption going on outside, or?
Yes, I have the operator here with me if you do have any specific questions for him regarding security, or I can ask him and come back up.
Yeah, bring him up. just
Bring him
for a
up?
second.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Name and address for the record, please.
Renkesh Bissetia, 600 Kaplan Court, Toms River, New Jersey, 08753.
Okay. And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me about that security a little bit,
So New York State requirement is that we should have a zero blind spot on the property. So we cover not just the inside, but also the outside of the building. So there is literally, you could see every single corner of the property, and sometimes we also kind of cover the roads too, to make sure that the safety is, prioritized.
Nobody's, so then if somebody would be outside consuming the product, you'd have to go out and talk to them?
Yeah,
and-
we would evict them.
As far as, no, I'll ask Ms. Blando on this one. As far as the parking goes and how many spaces are there, we're not asking for a parking variance, am I correct? Yes, we're not asking for a parking variance. so
Right, this is a smaller site. Strange Stars was the first cannabis site in the town of Babylon, and it is a larger outfit, has a bigger footprint, and it is on Route 110. So it tends to attract more customers. It tends to be busier. Sometimes first in, you get a certain following. But this is a different site. It's a smaller footprint and obviously a smaller site. But yes, in answer to your question, we actually exceed the parking requirement by 2 spaces.
I think that's all I have. All right, any other questions from the board? Okay, we're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You'll get the decision in the mail. Thanks for coming down. We'll take it all
Thank
into
you.
consideration, okay? Thank you. Good night, take care. Bye.
Right.
You're welcome. Next application is application 2690 of LRAC LLC, property located in East Farmingdale.
Again, Mr. Chairman, Nicole Blanda, Bizelle Blanda Visconti, 535 Broad Hollow Road, Melville.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated June 3rd, 2026. Environmental control memo dated June 8th, 2026. This is currently being reviewed by planning department, or the planning board, I'm sorry. Planning board of the town of Babylon will serve as the lead agency on that. Fire marshal's report, it passed, no structure on site. Okay. Suffolk County Planning memo dated June 5th, 2026. Decision of local determination, take no position for or against. A survey by John Gerald, dated May 14th, 2018. Plans by Bowler Engineering dated March 20th, 2026. 4 photographs, and we have an affidavit of posting. Okay, would like to tell us?
I'm here tonight on behalf of both the property owner and LRAC LLC, which will be operating an enterprise rent-a-car on the site, seeking variances in connection with such a facility. The premises is located on the west side of New Highway in East Farmingdale, about 330 feet north of the LIRR tracks. As you can see from the site plan, it is irregularly shaped, so it has very limited frontage on New Highway. It's 43.27 feet as the street frontage, and it's an existing condition and has been approved by this board twice prior for different applications, which I will get to. So that is variance number 4, and that's an existing condition. But as you can see, the site, as you go into it, it widens, it's pretty deep, and it makes kind of like a reverse L. So it's a very large site, and it's tucked behind industrial properties on New Highway. So the majority of what will be going on the site, if not all of it really, is not visible from the street. The site is entirely zoned Industry G. It's overall 16.29 acres and is comprised of 3 separate tax lots. Presently, it's being used by National Grid. A small portion of it is being used by National Grid, or Keyspan was the prior application, and it was also being used previously as a bus storage yard. In September of 2020, to give the board just a little bit of history, because you might recognize this site, the application that was in front of both the planning board and this board was for 3 warehouse buildings on this site. So at that time, the intention was to build 3 separate warehouses, and the variances that were granted back then were the street frontage, 43.27, and to allow 3 buildings on the site. However, since then, plans changed. The landlord found other tenants and decided not to do the warehouses. So National Grid actually approached the landlord about constructing a CNG distribution facility, and in 2022, that application came in, sort of in the more front part of the site is where National Grid has its space. And that ZBA approval was, again, for the street frontage, and at the time, for 4 buildings on the site, because they have a very little building on their own site, and the intention was to still have 3 warehouses. But that all has changed. So the warehouse buildings have been entirely eliminated. So here tonight, we're only asking to increase the number of buildings from 1 allowed to 2, rather than 4 previously approved, because we're proposing 1 building now on this site in addition to the key span for our Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So Enterprise Rent-A-Car will have a building that will be used as office space to manage their rental car business, and there'll also be some service bays inside, essentially to service their fleet, light repair work, tire service, oil changes, things like that. So it says special permit for a public garage, but these are not, your regular, we're not going there to have our car serviced. This is only for Enterprise Rent-A-Car for their own fleet. So it's not open to the general public. So variance number 1 for the auto garage is entirely for Enterprise. Variance number 2 and variance number 3 tie together because really the outside storage of the vehicles is what's creating the need for the parking variance. So I'm going to discuss these 2 variances together. The remainder of the property will be used, as you can see from there, all those parking spaces with the exception of the ones that abut the actual building. The rest of the site will be used to store Enterprise's stock, their fleet, their cars, their trucks. While these cars will be stored here, they will also be inspected on site, and then they might be sent to other sites. So this is kind of like a hub. Because of the shape and the layout of the overall site, the storage has to occur within the side yards. So we are asking for a variance to allow outside storage in the side yard. But if you look at the plan, I mean, you can see the way the building is situated, we're actually not even fronting on a street. So our side yard, I guess you could say, is to the north, and then we have a side yard that kind of comes around and dips into that, L shape over there. But this is all screened by the other industrial uses that are around us. And those spaces will all be used for the outside storage of the cars that are part of the Enterprise fleet. So what you see there is the majority of the site being used for outside storage. So for the parking variance, there are 3 uses that are being calculated here. The office use is 6,096 square feet, and that requires 40.6 spaces. The service garage is 6,570 square feet, and that requires 9.4 spaces. The outside storage is actually 195,102 square feet. So that's really what's driving this. And that's requiring 278.7 spaces. But it's literally for the cars. So the cars will be parked in the spaces that you see there. And they're going to be striped so that there are drive aisles, because this isn't like a valet situation. The employees that are there, they want to be able to move the cars in and out. So the total requirement for the site is 329 spaces. As I said, 278 of which are for outside storage, and we're providing 63, which sounds really low. However, when you look at the employees and the actual operation there, you'll see that we have enough. So there's roughly 46 employees, and no one from the public comes here. The expectation is that there'll be 8 to 10 administrative employees working in the office. 4 to 5 employees working maintenance. So at max, between the office and the maintenance, we have 15. There'll be 5 on-lot drivers, so just guys that are running around, moving cars, shifting them around. And then there'll be on any given day between 25 to 30 over-the-road employees, meaning that there are people who come in the morning, they check in, they get their vehicles to take to other sites, whether they load them on a carrier truck or not, and then they don't come back till the end of the day when they check out. So they're not actually some of them are leaving their cars there, obviously, for during the day, but again, when you add up all those employees and the one security guard that will be on site 24/7, we come to between 46 and 50 employees, and we have 63 spaces. The employee spaces will be closest to the building. So if we look at where the building is situated, there's certain lanes that are, if we look at the building, so I'm looking at the building, it's to the left, there's lanes showing arrows. That's where stacking and staging will occur for the different vehicles, whether they're going into the building to be serviced, or if they're just waiting there to be picked up, or they've just been dropped off by a carrier truck. That's where there's like 10 lanes, and those vehicles will remain there until employees move them around to the site to where they need to be parked and stored. The spaces that you see in front of the building and then along the perimeter and then kind of extending out below where Keyspan is, those will be employee spaces. So there's plenty of employee parking. There's also electric charging stations for electrical cars that are within this area, and some other employee spaces near where the staging's taking place. So again, given that the number of employees and the way that this site operates, we do feel that we have plenty of parking. And as you can see, the entire site is really parking for the fleet, so to speak, for the cars. The hours of operation would be Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., with the exception of the security guard, who will always be on site. I don't know if you can, it's hard to see, but there's a little island as you come in the driveway and you get all the way to where I said the staging is, there's a little island and there's an arrow pointing to where the security booth will be. So if you're an employee, you're going to come in before that and you're most likely going to park by the building. FedEx guy, postal guy, everyone who just needs to make a drop would come in before you get to security. Whoever's going past security is the truck carriers, the people delivering vehicles, because obviously they want to protect their inventory. That's the most important thing. So that's why they need a security guard there 24/7 to protect all those vehicles. Again, customers don't come to the site. So if we look at the building use alone and not storage, the parking required is 51 and the site plan is providing 63. The surrounding area, there's an asphalt plant, you have Basilico over there, you have the railroad, other industrial uses. We do have a driveway easement that we share with Basilico to allow us to come in and out of the site as well. That was agreed upon years ago in connection with the other applications. So we're not near any residences, we don't abut residences, and we're actually getting a decrease in the number of buildings here now. Originally there were 4 approved, and now there'll be 1 small building, and then the Keyspan site. But again, the majority of the site is really for storage of Enterprise Rent-A-Car's fleet. I just want to, with their covenants. Planning is still reviewing. We did have to submit an additional drainage plan, but nothing that they're reviewing would affect any of the variances that we're discussing tonight. So we would agree to all the standard conditions for a public garage for automotive repair, and we would agree that outdoor storage would be limited to the areas as designated on the approved site plan.
Council also recommended that the first variance for the special exception permit specify for light repair work only. Would you be agreeable to that?
How is that defined?
Have to clarify with council. I think
Yeah.
it's referring to that you're only doing repair work on your fleet and not outside work. You said it was oil, tire repair.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything major, like changing an engine or a transmission or anything like that?
No,
No?
no,
No. Okay.
no.
Oh, you'd have
It's definitely not open to the public. Like I said, you can't just have customers coming in and getting their, cars serviced. If we want to discuss specifically, and you want that in writing, I just don't want to say yes to light repair and then there's something in there that isn't
Yeah, it's
light
kind of-
repair.
That's a kind of broad, yes.
Yeah. Would you like to hear specifically in addition to what I said?
Why not, yeah.
Sure.
Name and address?
Name and address for the record.
John Solomon, 26 Haverford Road, Hicksville, New York, 11801.
And you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
So Enterprise Car Rental is using this as a hub. to distribute to their retail centers, in and out. So if there's events in Montauk at the golfing outing and they need 200 cars to go that way, they're going to ship 200 cars. The shop is strictly to inspect, check their cars, light work. So if there's a ding in it or a little chip, they'll have like Ding Doctor come and do that work. They need a place inside. They do tires a lot, their own inspections. Some of their other locations have car washes, this does not. Oil is actually, right now, is not being used, but I don't want to restrict it because I'm assuming they will be doing oil in the future and stuff. Engines, no. Most of their fleet is a lease system that they do with manufacturers, so they don't do major work. Part of their problem is they can't get parts from manufacturers, so some of their fleet sits around. But this is strictly to rotate. As Nicole said, this is not for the public to come to. There should be no reason for the public to come here. It's definitely not a car pickup. It's their new lease drop-off. Leases are being surrendered. Vehicles that are going in and out to the dealership for any reason that have come off their use, in a sense, because of whatever recalls or problems that they have with the vehicle. But it's very light mechanic work. It's definitely not exterior mechanic work.
Brakes?
Don't know, because you have to be a certified mechanic to do brakes. So I don't know if they'll do brakes, but we'll call light work right now. To the question a minute ago, what is the restriction? If there's more detail, I'll get answers for you. But that, yeah, definitely.
And there's no washing of cars, no car
No,
washing?
there's no
there?
car wash there. No. Some of their other centers have car washes. I don't know which one, but they have no intentions of putting there. So, and then the staging lanes that were mentioned a minute ago, roughly 10, that's, like Nicole said, in and out, prep. The cars are okayed, ready to be loaded to send out somewhere. So. Any other
Okay,
questions?
thank you. Unless you have something else, I'm not trying to.
No, just trying to answer your question.
Quick question. You mentioned you had leased vehicles. You receive leased vehicles. Do you guys sell them or no? Right?
So
How does that work?
I'm not with Enterprise.
Oh, you know, okay.
No, I'm with the landlord.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how they sell their vehicles. I know they do own some vehicles and they sell them. I believe they go to auction, but I could get answers if you need answers on that one, but I don't know. And it wouldn't be auctioned on site.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's our concern, what would be done on site. None of that.
no, definitely not.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have no questions. Any questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? She agreed to the condition, right? You agreed to the conditions?
Yes.
Standard covenants and restrictions in the outdoor storage? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, we're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. We'll keep the record open. Maybe you can get back to us so we can resolve this, what is light, repair and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we just have to specify. We might even have to list if that's really what everybody wants, then we'd have to list out the activities. I would just hate for it to be a problem in the future.
Yeah.
That's a general term.
We'll reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no
Okay.
problem.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. That ends the